Well, I mean, this is what you all play for. Nobody comes out with low expectations. You always want to have the highest expectations. If you want to be a champion, you got to go through the champion. This is a great opportunity for us tonight.
Larry, thank you.
Thank you.
And the Cardinals get back 2 starters tonight. Safety Tyrann Mathieu is back after missing the last 2 games with a fractured left thumb. And right guard Paul Faneca returns after missing 2 games with a high left ankle sprain. As for the Seahawks, they're without a couple of key offensive starters. Pro Bowlers Russell Okung and Max Unger are out with injuries, and tight end Tony Moeaki is out as well. Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. Chris talking about the injuries along that front. Arizona will kick off. They won the toss and chose to defer. Chandler Catanzaro, a rookie, will be kicking off. Paul Richardson, he was on the injury list earlier this week. He's the speedy rookie from Colorado who will see a lot of work at wideout tonight as well. And Lindley just awaiting his turn. On the night of nights for him, Richard Sherman, of course, will be on the other side. And away we go with first place in the NFC West at stake. And we start with a touchback. Let's take a look at the Seahawks starters.
Russell Wilson from a whole pack of Badgers.
Marshawn Lynch, Oakland Ice City, California.
Doug Baldwin, Stanford.
Jermaine Kearse, Washington.
Luke Wilson, Villanova High School.
Cooper Helford, Duke.
Alvin Bailey, University of Arkansas.
James Carpenter, Alabama.
Patrick Lewis, Texas A&M.
J.R. Sweezy, NC State. Justin Britt, LHS, MIZ.
And all eyes on that interior 5. The rookie Britt, second-round choice. The new center Lewis. Robert Turbin is going to start at running back instead of Lynch. That's a switch, at least on the first play of the game. And they give it to him, and he comes close to picking up a first down before Tony Jefferson, the safety, comes up to make the stop. So Turbin, who does see a lot of action, spelling Marshawn Lynch whenever he needs a break. He's carried the ball 54 times this season. No slouch. He's averaging 4.1 yards per carry. And there is Lynch, who just walked out from the locker room. So we'll check on that with a stocking cap on. That's why Turbin winds up starting the game, takes the handoff, and then gets tackled at the line of scrimmage. Lynch, who misses a lot of practice time during the season with a sore back, missed 2 practices this week. So we're speculating right now, and we'll try to get it confirmed. That is the reason for his late entry onto the field.
3rd and 1, and this Arizona defense very good in this situation. I'm sure they'd love to have their ace, Marshawn Lynch, in there to try and convert this.
Turbin now with the fullback, Tukoafu, fronting him. Give it to him again, and he does get the first down. So 3 straight carries, and already the storyline of the game right now. What about Marshawn Lynch and his availability tonight?
Here's the key right here. J.R. Sweezy had the ankle sprain, was questionable during the course of the week, but you're right, Al. Very strange to see Marshawn Lynch come out late. You don't know if he was getting some treatment. You don't know. He's had times when he did not go in at halftime because he got treatment on the sideline for that back, so we won't speculate. We'll figure it out as we go.
From the 31-yard line, off the play fake. Wilson's first pass is good for a gain of about 3. Cooper Helford, the tight end, makes the catch. And let's take a look at the Cardinals starters.
Frosty Rucker, USC.
Dan Williams, Tennessee.
Calais Campbell, the U.
Alex Okafor, Texas.
Larry Foote, Michigan.
Kevin Minner, LSU.
Matthew Shaughnessy, Wisconsin.
Patrick Peterson, LSU. Tony Jefferson, Oklahoma.
Rashad Johnson, Alabama.
Antonio Cromartie, Florida State, national champs.
2 good corners. Foote, the longtime Steeler, in his first year here. Turbin takes the handoff, and on his 4th carry of the night, picks up a second first down, and we check in with Michelle.
Well, I'm told, Al, that Marshawn Lynch has an upset stomach, and that's what delayed him coming out of the locker room and onto the sidelines. We saw him taping up his wrists and getting himself ready as usual with some heating ointment on his lower back, but I'm told this is all about an upset stomach.
All right, thank you, Michelle. And we look at him. He had to put his helmet on, just sitting on the bench right now. So Turbin is in there. Turbin plays maybe a third of the snaps anyway. And that one is deflected, and it is incomplete. There's a flag on the play. Our first of the night. The play is dead. Walt Anderson is tonight's referee.
Start of the snap. False start. Number 15. Offense. 5-yard penalty. It's still first down.
That was the wideout Jermaine Kearse. So Russell Wilson came over in the 2012 draft, picked third. 34-12 is his record. Most wins in the first 3 seasons of any quarterback in the history of the National Football League.
And very good on the road this year. 12 touchdowns, just 1 interception. He says nothing flusters me.
And a Super Bowl ring. Now Christian Michael, who was their number 3 running back and a guy who can break one, comes into the game and flanks Wilson. The fake to him, and the pass is incomplete, intended for the tight end Helfet. That'll make it second down and 15. We talked about Larry Foote. Larry Foote was actually close to retiring after so many years in Pittsburgh. He's in his 13th year in the league. Do you know how many snaps he has missed this season in 14 games plus? One snap.
Bruce Arians said that is the guy he wanted on his team, along with Gerard Powers. He knew what kind of guy he was. He knew of his leadership, and they don't want him off the field.
Second down and 15. Michael works his way up to the 44-yard line. Tommy Kelly makes the tackle. That'll make it 3rd and 11 for Seattle.
And he's not the best athlete in the world, but he just knows what's going on. I mean, here's a guy that oftentimes will yell out what the play is of the offense before they snap the football. And that sort of leadership is the difference.
And an injury timeout as they come out to take Tommy Kelly over to the sideline. Another guy that has been picked up. Steve Keim has done a fantastic job as the GM here, bringing in guys like Kelly, bringing in Larry Foote, bringing in Carson Palmer, who's their number 1 quarterback, but he's hurt on injured reserve. Getting Lindley back, and there he is. Steve Keim has done a magnificent job here in the past couple of years.
Well, and the key is that Bruce Arians gives those guys a shot when they get brought in. A lot of coaches say, well, I don't care who it is. You bring them in mid-season, I'm not going to put them in key roles, but Bruce Arians has. And now this offensive line that started so hot for Seattle, now they're going to have to pass protect, and that's going to be much more of the issue for them tonight than their run blocking. That's been good. Let's see how they do now pass protect.
7 DBs in the game. It's an empty set here. Keep it tight in on the left side, and the pass is caught, but not enough for a first down. He got it to Baldwin, his number 1 receiver. He's covered by Justin Bethel, but it's 4th down. So 2 first downs on this drive, and now they're forced to punt from midfield.
Todd Bowles, the defensive coordinator, he's going to bring the blitz because he knows that Russell Wilson has to throw hot, make the tackle after a 7-yard gain, and you get the football back. So a nice start for Arizona.
John Ryan will do the punting. Ted Ginn Jr. runs back punts and kickoffs, and see some action at wideout. And nose down, put some backspin on it. And Ginn comes up and makes the fair catch at the 16-yard line. So Mr. Lindley will go to work with that Arizona offense when we come back to Glendale. Sunday Night Football brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. By Verizon XLTE on America's largest, most reliable 4G LTE network. By Citizen Echo Drive, powered by any light, never needs a battery. And by Nissan, innovation that excites. And that's the way the field gets rolled in to University of Phoenix Stadium. They grow the grass outside, they roll it in, and that's what they will do for the Super Bowl on the night of February the 1st.
Can't be much more energy for the Super Bowl than what there is here tonight, though.
All right, here goes Lindley and the Arizona offense. They start at the 16-yard line. Stephon Taylor is the running back, and he'll carry the ball. And all-time leader in Stanford rushing takes it to the 20. So Lindley was actually drafted by the Cardinals in the 6th round in 2012. He has thrown 181 passes without a touchdown pass. He's also thrown 7 interceptions. He saw spot duty at the end of the year in 2012. Last year, on the team but didn't play. This year on the San Diego practice squad until Carson Palmer got hurt, and then Arizona brought him back to put him on the active roster. And when Drew Stanton got hurt in the St. Louis game, he assumes the job. 2nd and 6. And stuffed in the backfield is Taylor by Cliff Averill. Take a look at the Cardinal offense.
Ryan Lindley, San Diego State.
Stephon Taylor, Stanford.
Larry Fitzgerald, University of Pittsburgh.
Michael Floyd, Notre Dame.
John Carlson, Notre Dame.
Darren Fells, UC Irvine.
Jared Valdir, Hillsdale College.
Ted Larson, NC State.
Lyle Senline, Texas.
Paul Faneca, Arizona State.
Bobby Massey, Ole Miss.
That offensive front, Senline, one of the few remaining Cardinals who played in their Super Bowl against Pittsburgh after the 08 season. They empty the backfield. You go 5 wide here. 4-man rush. Lindley's first pass is caught for a first down. A flag is down. Larry Fitzgerald for the moment has a first down. Seattle indicating the penalty should be on Arizona. Here's Anderson.
Illegal hands to the face, number 51, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Well, Richard, was some wishful thinking. That was Bruce Irvin, so a first down for the Cardinals.
In some ways, this may be the most significant pass Ryan Lindley's ever thrown. Just to get out on 3rd down and just prove to his teammates that, yes, he can complete one. And that's exactly what Bruce Arians wants. He just simply wants them to play smart, but don't play scared. Don't play scared. You've trained for this your whole life. You are ready for this moment. Go out there and play football.
Well, for what it's worth, it's got to be a little bit of a confidence boost not to start with a 3 and out. He gets a first down, takes him out to the 27-yard line. Taylor flanks him in the backfield. Off the play fake, has time, guns one, and that's incomplete. Intended for again, 2nd down. Let's take a look at the Seattle defense.
Michael Bennett, Alief Taylor High School.
Tony McDaniel, Tennessee.
Kevin Williams, Oklahoma State.
Cliff Averill, Boilermaker.
KJ Wright, Mississippi State. Bobby Wagner, D, Utah State.
Bruce Irvin, Almost Heaven, West Virginia U.
Richard Sherman, Stanford.
Cam Chancellor, Virginia Tech.
Earl Thomas, DBU, Texas.
Byron Maxwell, CC Blaney.
Sherman and Thomas, tremendous. Of course, Bobby Wagner came back after missing 5 games, the middle linebacker. That made a huge difference. 2nd and 10, and the pass is incomplete, thrown into double coverage. And you've got Sherman and Thomas right there. Talk about a daily double. Trying to jam it in again, incomplete, 3rd down.
Be careful around this guy right here, Earl Thomas. Maybe as good a safety as there is in the game, just reading the eyes of Lindley, and that pass was a good 4 yards off of where Lindley wanted that one to be. The only thing that saved him there is that was low and away, but Earl Thomas with the speed to play that center field and get sideline to sideline in a way that maybe no other safety can in the game.
Now a double stack. Lindley steps up. Lindley buys some time. The pass is a little high and incomplete, intended for the rookie John Brown, who's had a real good year, but can't hold this one in. And it's 4th and 10.
I'd say Marion Grice going to end up being Lindley's one of his best friends here. Just tremendous block, gave him an opportunity and just threw it high. And that was the one thing that Arians was really concerned about. When you get nervous, sometimes the ball gets away from you high. He said we can't have that in this game.
Drew Butler's punt in the direction of Brian Walters. He fields it at the 26 and can't maintain his balance. There's a flag down. Justin Bethel, special teams maven, got down there to cover him. Fitzgerald and Lindley go over things. Lindley will talk to the guys upstairs. Tom Moore, the legendary Tom Moore, the assistant coach, sitting right next to him. Here's Anderson.
Holding, number 57, receiving team. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. It'll be first down, Seattle. Timeout.
7:45 to go in the opening quarter. No score in Arizona. Don't miss a moment of Sunday night football this season with NBC Sports Live Extra. Take the game with you anywhere, online and on tablet. You need any ammo?
He might.
Just in case. Yeah, he may. He's going to need some carbonation. Upset stomach. That's why Lynch is still on the bench. And they start from the 15. This is Turbin working his way up past the 20 for a gain of close to 6 halfway through the first quarter. Seattle, #1 in the league in rushing, 169 yards a game, and the Cardinals defense 6th against the rush. And one of the reasons Seattle is #1 is because their quarterback Russell Wilson has rushed for 754 yards. As you look at Todd Bowles, the defensive coordinator, Wilson would be leading 18 different teams in rushing this year. He's second on his own team to Lynch. 2nd and 4, and the pass is caught right over the middle. Baldwin makes his second catch of the night. That's a first down for the Hawks.
Of course, Russell Okung, their Pro Bowl tackle, out. And you've got Alvin Bailey here going against the best, Alex Okafor, on the outside. Not really a pure pass rusher on this football team anymore without Darnell Dockett, John Abraham. But Okafor with his 7 sacks, Calais Campbell 7 as well, playing with a bit of a hip issue here tonight. But he did have 3 sacks the last time these two teams met.
That's Lockett in motion. A lot of speed. Fake the Turbin and a roll, and the pass is caught out in the flat. To the 35-yard line goes Lockett. That'll be a gain of about 5. Rashad Johnson makes the tackle. It'll be 2nd and 5.
And this is really what Seattle's pass offense is about. They establish the run, and then they go to the bootlegs. Then they go to the scrambles. This is a team, when you see them scramble, it's almost the wrong word. It's organized, right? I mean, they practice this relentless. Pete Carroll said, we want to be the best scrambling team in the National Football League.
And when you got a guy like #3 doing the scrambling, you're in pretty good shape. Christian Michael comes back into the game at running back. Lockett in motion again, sets in the slot. Little toss, and Michael tries to get around the corner and is about 3 yards shy of the first down, forced out by Cromartie, setting up a 3rd and let's call it a 2.
Nice job on the outside, Ricardo Lockett, one of the wide receivers coming down. These receivers for Seattle, they understand their role. This is not a pure Tom Brady, Peyton Manning passing game. So as a wide receiver, you've got to be able to come down here, and they do a nice job setting the edge there on Larry Foote.
Spotted just shy of the 38.
Now's when you have to be careful about Russell Wilson running the football. These 3rd down conversions is where he's so dangerous.
3rd and a short 3. The play clock's at 1. He flips it out to Kearse, and Kearse is able to stiff arm his way for a first down before he is forced out of bounds at the Seattle 44-yard line. It'll be a first down.
Well, it's a bit unusual that you've got the 2 leading receivers, Jermaine Kearse and Doug Baldwin, neither of whom were drafted. But they've got a young man by the name of Paul Richardson, who's about as fast as anybody playing. Had a little leg issue during the course of the week, but he is a deep threat, and this game may well come down to which team, which quarterback can hit that one big play to be the difference.
Blitz coming, and Wilson is forced to throw, and it's incomplete. Coming around the backside was Larry Foote. Took the circle route to get there.
Larry Foote's going to circle around right here, and he's a guy that understands what's going on. If I have to be perfectly honest about it, Larry Foote is not a great coverage guy. So you have a guy that's not a great coverage guy, what do? Send him after the quarterback. Why not? He's good at that. He goes in there and gets after Russell Wilson. And now the defense has the edge. And for Todd Bowles, this is a heavy blitzing team. They may try to stay with it.
2nd down and 10. Inside handoff and a nice hole there. This is Christian Michael, the #3 running back. For the moment, he's #2 with Lynch on the bench, and that's a first down in Arizona territory. Gain of 15 to the 39-yard line.
One of the unusual things about Arizona's defense is that Dayon Buchanan, a safety, essentially when you get into some of those nickel looks, he is the linebacker. So what do you do if you have the #1 rushing offense in the league? You run right out of safety. So they're going to challenge that look of Arizona.
Come up with a pistol now. With Wilson taking the snap, giving it to Michael. And nowhere to run around the right side as he gets taken down and foot right in the middle of the action there, along with Okafor. Second down and long.
They really do a good job, and it's one of the reasons that Arizona has had success against the overall running game of the Seattle Seahawks. Is, boy, you see those guys on the edge. They don't fool around with that read option, any of that stuff. They are coming and getting Marshawn Lynch and Robert Turbin and Kristen Michael. They are setting a hard edge out there. You want to beat them, you have to get outside.
Second and 12, and action up front. Let's see who they call it on.
False start, number 78, offense. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Alvin Bailey, second-year guy out of Arkansas, taking O'Coon's place. A 350-pounder is Bailey. Most opponent false starts at home since the 06 season. That's the year that this place opened up. Arizona with Seattle, and we know how tough it is to play there for an opponent. Fourth. There's Lynch, upset stomach is the reason that he hasn't been playing tonight. Came out a little bit late. Still hasn't put his helmet on. Second down and 17. And Wilson is chased again. And he's out of the pocket and just throws it into the Seattle bench. Okafor chased him. Forced to throw. 3rd and 17 next.
You end up with a blitz coming right off the edge, I think, right here. Gerard Powers was coming. I think Russell Wilson was just afraid to throw it, so they get him in scramble mode. Again, tonight, what they really want is for Russell Wilson to have to win the game with his arm, not his legs. It's a very athletic bunch, and they feel like they can control Russell maybe a little better than some other teams.
Wilson is yet to carry. Turbin 5 carries. Michael has 4. This is 3rd and 17. Here they come again. Pressure is put on. They almost get to him, and then he's forced to throw it away again. Arizona loves to blitz, and not only do they blitz, but Todd Bowles has been sending 6 or more than any team in the league, and Wilson took a shot there from Frosty Rucker.
Well, and it started from Rashad Johnson, who's going to come off the edge right here. And watch what he does. He doesn't try to go up and make the tackle. Now he jumps. He should have just stayed on his feet. But what they want to do is put their safeties in positions on the read option and otherwise to stay with Russell Wilson. If you have defensive ends and linebackers, he's going to make them look silly. These safeties, athletically, they can stay with Russell Wilson.
John Ryan. Ginn is back. Ginn's going to call for a fair catch and make it at the 7-yard line. Cardinals will start deep in their own territory. 2:28 left in the opening quarter. No score. Ryan Lindley, the quarterback, we met with him the other day, does not seem overwhelmed. 08 through 11 at San Diego State. He was born in San Diego, grew up in the area, set a lot of records there. 6th round pick, 185 overall in the 2012 draft. In 2012, 1-3 with the Cardinals under Ken Wisenhunt. And then last year didn't play. Then he went to the Chargers practice squad when he was cut in August this year. And his parents looking on tonight, driving over from San Diego, Kaylin and Tim Lindley. And when he went back to San Diego on the practice squad to save a few bucks, he moved in with his grandma. Left his wife here. She runs professional track. And now they're back together. Here is Williams, Kerwin Williams, who is a first-year back from Utah State, who came up from the practice squad. Another guy up off the practice squad within the last couple of weeks, had a 100-yard gain a couple of weeks ago.
There's Larry Fitzgerald, and he was joking a little bit with me. I said, how's it feel to be in the old Hines Ward role, just blocking all the time now? And he said the difference was, he said, Hines loved blocking. He said, I do it grudgingly. He would much rather go out there and catch a few passes, but this is the Bruce Arians offense that they ran in Pittsburgh.
2nd and 7. Good protection. They like to go deep. They do here, and a flag is thrown as it is incomplete. Michael Floyd, a deep threat. Byron Maxwell. The Seattle bench is half apoplectic about the call because it's going to go for interference against Seattle.
The good thing that Michael Floyd did.
Pass interference, number 41, defense. First down at the spot of the foul.
Michael Floyd kept enough field outside of him that he could break away. See, he's not right on the boundary there. That's kind of just arm fighting. Maybe he grabbed that arm right there on the inside. Sometimes the officials get the better look right down the line. So if you hook that inside arm, they're going to call that. But it's a good job by Floyd, leaving himself enough room to fade to it on the outside.
36-yard penalty. Lindley is going to go deep again. There's Floyd, and it's a little behind him. He had a twist and turn toward the sideline. He had beaten Sherman on the play. 2nd down and 10.
Richard Sherman in the game last week a couple of times got a little cute trying to make plays, interceptions, came up, and Dan Quinn, the defensive coordinator, told him this week, listen, deep is deep. If you have deep, don't let somebody sneak in behind you. That time, Michael Floyd was wide open. That was one that should have been hit.
So you would think with a guy like Lindley, they play it close to the vest and conservative, but Arians is Arians with his offense. He will take his shots. Play clock at 1. Keep it on the ground, and stumbling for it for a gain of a couple is Kerwin Williams. Kerwin Williams is a whole Utah State connection going on tonight. Bobby Wagner, the middle linebacker for the Seattle Seahawks. Turbin. Turbin was the #1 back at Utah State. Then when he left, as you look at Wagner, in came Kerwin Williams. They're minus not only their #1 and 2 quarterbacks, but the #1 running back, Ellington.
Yeah, and Bobby Wagner said the minute he saw that Kerwin Williams was going to be playing, the trash talking started. Utah State going to be famous after this one.
3rd and 9, going deep again, and that pass is incomplete. So not averse to taking their shots, intended for John Brown. Maxwell that time wanted offensive pass interference, doesn't get it. 4th down.
But this is different than what happened in the first game. Arizona's field position in the first game was constantly being backed up. Seattle seemed like they were starting around the 40, 50-yard line almost that whole game. And at least Lindley has hit a few. Well, it helps with the pass interference, but they've shifted the field position.
That was big. It tilts the field here and makes Seattle start deep in its own territory as Walters makes the fair catch and another flag is thrown. Seattle already has 4 penalties tonight. Arizona has none. Seattle leads the league in penalties, and their opponents have had fewer called on them than any other team.
During the kick, holding number 20, the receiving team, half the distance to the goal from the end of the kick. Be 1st down, Seattle. Timeout.
Jeremy Lane, and make it 5 penalties on the Seahawks, who are backed up even farther. You can check it out tomorrow night at 10 Eastern, 9 Central. State of Affairs. Charlie Secret is revealed. It changes everything. Catherine Heigl starring in State of Affairs tomorrow night on NBC. As a look at downtown Phoenix, about a half-hour drive from here. Waning seconds of the first quarter, and we start here with Turbin stacked up at the line of scrimmage, no gain. Check in with Michelle.
Well, Al, over the last few minutes, Marshawn Lynch was on the trainer's table, had athletic trainers stretching out his neck and shoulder area, and then he went and did something he's famous for. He grabbed a handful of Skittles, threw those in his mouth, and then he went on to stretch out his legs. Still, we have not yet seen him with his helmet in his hands, Al.
Thank you, Michelle. Never knew Skittles was an acid, but there's his helmet going on right now. Maybe that's the key. That's how you get rid of an upset stomach.
You go through that medical kit there, you better make sure you grab Skittles.
2nd and 10. Here goes Wilson, his first run of the night, and this is what he does so brilliantly. And off he goes, stiff arms, takes the ball all the way into Arizona territory before he's chased down by Rashad Johnson, and that's the way the quarter ends. After a 55-yard run by Russell Wilson, it's the longest rush of his career. End of 1, no score. Sunday Night Football resumes after these messages. Dale, Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya. Sunday Night Football. Arizona wins. They are the #1 seed in the road to the Super Bowl. Goes right through here. Seattle wins. They're in first place in the division. They could be #1. They could be #3. They could be #4. We don't know. A lot happening tonight.
I'm going to leave all that to you, Bill.
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much. as the cerebellum blows up. All right, from the 40-yard line of the Arizona Cardinals after that big run. The pass is caught, and then Minter drives Helfet all the way behind the equipment. Numbers through the first quarter. He had that 55-yard run, so that's more than half of the rushing total for Seattle. And time of possession, of course, Seattle. And the only really good thing to happen to the Cardinals offensively was the 36-yard pass interference. Lindley is 1 out of 6. And Marshawn Lynch now makes his first appearance of the game. He goes out into the flat, and the pass is knocked down. Coming in was Alex Okafor, rushing in from the defensive left side. He has 7 sacks this season, 3rd and 4.
It's actually a good play by Justin Britt. If he didn't get a piece here of Okafor might have run this one in the end zone, made him get his hands down just enough to not be able to get that second hand on it. But here you come. These are the 3rd downs on the edge of field goal range that Arizona has to win. They know their offense isn't going to be big tonight. They have to win these.
Third and 4. Here they come on a blitz again. Wilson flushed out again, and then throws it into the arms of Baldwin, but he was out of bounds, so it is a stop here and a 4th down. Wilson getting a lot of pressure. That time Matt Shaughnessy was chasing him.
Well, you can just count on it that you're going to get in most key situations, you're going to get that kind of blitz. And remember, this is a reshuffled offensive line. So Todd Bowles, the defensive coordinator, is going to want to see, do they know all their assignments? It's loud, it's uncomfortable in here. Challenge that offensive line.
Here comes Steven Hauschka. He's made his last 5 from 50 or more. This is 52 yards. To try to give Seattle the first points of the game, and the kick is no good. Wide to the right, and that gives Arizona the ball near midfield. 50 seconds in for the second quarter. So Drew Stanton starts as the backup to Carson Palmer this year, but does see a lot of action. Did pretty well. Then sprained his knee, sprained MCL 10 days ago in the game, the Thursday nighter against St. Louis. So there was some question as to whether or not he might even be active tonight, certainly not start. If they can win this game, they can rest him next week when they go to San Francisco. They would then have a bye week, so he would have 3 weeks to get ready for what would be their first playoff game on the weekend of the 10th. That's how important this game is.
If they win this game, they're all going to need a week off, for they're going to be partying like crazy around here.
After the missed field goal, Lindley, he's going to dump it off to the left side, and the pass is caught, and staying in bounds for a big gain is Stephon Taylor. So he juggled it, the pass a little errant, but he's able to pull it in and turn it into a nice gain of 25 yards.
That's what Lindley's going to need, some plays just like this. And Stephon Taylor, who had such a big career at Stanford, 3 straight years over 1,000 yards, they have to help Lindley in this game. They have to make plays around him to build his confidence.
It's Arizona's 3rd first down of the game. 1 came via penalty. And they keep it on the ground, and moving forward is Taylor. Let's go to Michelle.
Well, Al, there was some hope that Stanton would be active tonight. He got some work in practice Thursday. Bruce Arians said he looked good, but then the knee swelled up on Friday. I talked to Drew before the game. He hopes to practice next week, but it will be up to the training staff and what the team has at stake in their final game. As you said, clearly there's a benchmark of being able to practice and then having the knee respond well the following day.
Thank you, Michelle. You look at Arians. Stanton, he's had 10 days rest, as has Lindley's had at least 10 days to prepare for it. So they come off a week in which they play on a Thursday and a half a bye. And then moving inside the 35-yard line goes Stephon Taylor. I'll tell you one thing, Chris. Bruce Arians wins the Super Bowl this year. Coach of the year, he's the coach of the century.
You know, he could be, I think he's going to win it this year, but he could have been 3 straight years. Of course, taking over for Chuck Pagano in Indy, and what an incredible job he did there. Then coming here, getting 10 wins a season ago, and now all the quarterback things. Tom Moore said, he goes, you can't believe the things this guy has had to deal with this football team, but he doesn't even talk about it, doesn't want to talk about it. He just gets ready for the next one.
So it's 3rd and 3 and a timeout taken here by the Cardinals. When the season starts, they lose Darnell Dockett before the season even begins. Key defensive lineman Darrell Washington, great linebacker, 1-year suspension, substance abuse. There was Dockett, knee injury, 3-time Pro Bowler. John Abraham starts the year, winds up on IR with a concussion week 2. Carson Palmer, we know about, was playing magnificently. Andre Ellington, their #1 running back, on injured reserve since week 13. We talked about Drew Stanton. It's this whole next man up thing, and it doesn't matter. I mean, it's like whatever Arians has done has worked. They had that 2-game stumble where they lost at Seattle, and then they lost at Atlanta, but then came back and won a very big game against Kansas City right here.
He is a tough coach, but they all love him. They all really respect him.
3rd and 3, and the pass is caught, and then Bobby Wagner comes in and pops Grice. Where are they going to put it? Grice makes the catch, the rookie out of Arizona State, and they're going to spot it, as you can see, just inside the 31-yard line, and Walt Anderson wants to bring out the chains.
Grice may want to bring out the medic. Watch Bobby Wagner here. We were talking to him last night about that very thing, about how do you come up, because he came back from an injury and he has studied all the great linebackers, and he was talking about, I said, how do you get the big hit? He said you have the time when they cut it and then get balance and get your feet underneath you, but you want big hits as a linebacker because it inspires your football team. But that big catch that time by Grice is going to inspire his.
And that gives them a first down, puts them clearly in field goal range here, albeit a fairly long one, with 12 minutes to go in the first half.
Yeah, Marion Grice, yet another guy off of San Diego's practice squad. That's a gutsy catch right there. That's a hard ball to hold on to, but it keeps the drive alive. This is fantastic. Now, Ryan Lindley, just be careful with the football here. Just know what kind of game you're in.
He's 3 of 8 for 34 yards. On the ground, getting inside the 30 is another penalty here. We've had a bunch of them. That's Taylor. And all of them have gone against Seattle. They've had 5, and the Cardinals have had none.
Offside, number 72, defense, lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
And it's Michael Bennett.
You can see right there, has his head and hand across that line. That's a good call by the officials. Pete can't believe it. The penalties have really hurt them. Offensively, their first 2 drives, it was penalties that set them back. And now here again, you can't help this football team. You can't help Ryan Lindley like this.
1st and 5 from the 25. There's another flag. And this time it is Bennett who makes the tackle in the backfield.
I think he's offsides again.
Yes.
Offside, number 72, defense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Bottom of this. That's hard to believe.
It's on you twice.
That's hard to believe.
It's not. This one's worse than the other one. He's way across the line, and he got a line to deal with there. He's a great player, maybe their best, even on this defense full of great names. But these penalties are starting to haunt early in the game.
And we talked about it before. The Hawks, most penalties in the league, and their opponents, fewest. And tonight it's 7-0 in that category. First down at the 20-yard line. And pop, and that's Cam Chancellor who comes up on Taylor, and that's something you see Chancellor do a lot. That's a linebacker playing safety.
This guy looks like he's an NBA power forward when you're standing next to him. And watch the holy smokes. Perfectly clean hit, but as a running back, you have no idea that's coming. Stephon Taylor had no idea, because that's the old 8th man in the box. And Cam Chancellor is just a hammer. When Chancellor and Bobby Wagner came back on this defense, they went on this 4-game winning streak, and they started looking like last year's Seattle Seahawks, flying around out there.
6'3", 230-pound safety. And then it's dumped off on a screen, and that's caught by Hausler, the tight end, and that's going to make a first down and goal for the Arizona Cardinals. Earl Thomas stops him, hangs in the pocket, throws the screen, first down and goal for the Cards. Gain of 13.
Good job. He sold Bruce Irvin on the fact that he was going to come out. Here comes the pressure off the edge. Blocked him, faked him just long enough. They get their #1 offensive lineman, Jared Valdir, out in front. And here we go. For Ryan Lindley, they told us, and we talked to him, he was a cool customer. He didn't seem to be nervous. He didn't seem to be anxious. And so far, delivering.
Glanced at the play clock. This goes to 1. Hands the ball off. Taking it to about the 3.5 is Taylor. Second and goal.
A lot of respect for Larry Fitzgerald. He's doing something he really doesn't care about, and I think he's up against KJ Wright maybe on that play. Hold, grab, cheat, whatever. You're a wide receiver. Take a shot at it out there. But the one way, and we've seen over the years, if you're going to have a little success doing anything against Seattle, sometimes you have to take it and run it right at them. Their speed is so effective if you let them make it into a sideline-to-sideline game.
Second and goal. Taylor is the running back. Give it to him. And this time he gets stopped behind the line of scrimmage by Kevin Williams, the longtime Viking, now in his 12th season in the league.
You know, Kevin Williams is an interesting case study. Here's a guy that played the more the 3-technique tackle, the more the pass rushing kind of thing. And then Brandon Mebane got hurt for Seattle, and they asked Kevin Williams to go in there in the Kansas City game. Well, that one wasn't very good, but his growth over the past 3-4 games really has made a huge difference. Now that void has been filled by a great all-pro player.
They go 5 wide on a 3rd and goal.
This is the first charge timeout, Seattle. 30-second timeout.
So Seattle saw the way they lined up, and Pete Carroll calls a timeout. Once again, to state the importance of this game, gigantic. If Seattle wins, they're in the driver's seat in the NFC West, and Arizona probably has a wild card game to play, and maybe not even a home game in the playoffs. It depends. They win, of course, the road comes right through here.
And you may get the feeling that some of the other NFC teams who maybe have not had to come here and try to win would rather see Arizona win this game because they don't want to have to go back through Seattle. They tasted that a season ago, but be careful what you wish for.
Right.
Because this Arizona team is going to get healthier and healthier as they go along, and come playoff time, I'm not so sure you want to try and beat this team here.
You make a very interesting point. Tough to win in either place. We know about Seattle. If the Cardinals win tonight, they'll end the regular season 8-0 in this building. They go 5 wide again. Same set after the timeout. 3rd and goal, and now you got a flag.
False start, number 62, offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Ted Larson. It's not the worst thing in the world in the sense that it gives you a little more room to work with here.
Here's a big decision right now for Bruce Arians. You've got a young quarterback. Yeah, you've got a little more room to work here, but you're also dealing with one of the best defenses we've seen in the National Football League in a long time. So do you really want, this is a great drive. This is everything you want out of your young quarterback. You want at least 3 here. How much do they trust him? We're going to know a lot after this play call.
This time with 4 wide. Lindley escapes, throws, and it's almost picked off in the end zone. That's Jeremy Lane who was there. John Brown had gotten behind him. So it's 4th and goal, and in comes the field goal unit.
Oh, boy.
Yep.
That one could have easily been picked. It looked to me like Jeremy Lane may have jumped a fraction early on this one. Just not that big a guy. Neither one of them, really. That big a guy. Jeremy Lane, about 6 feet tall, and got just a little piece of that one.
Needed more air under the ball. Catanzaro, the rookie, to try to put the first points of the game up on the scoreboard, and he does. 27-yard field goal, 3-0 Arizona. It's a liquid nitrogen experiment at the Arizona Science Center yesterday afternoon. What do you think?
I didn't go. It looks like fun. I'm sure everybody enjoyed it.
Fantastic.
Ping pong ball explosion.
It's better than a liquid nitrogen experiment on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
Here's the kickoff from Catanzaro, and it's down in the end zone. And the Seattle Seahawks will go to work. There's 7:55 to go in the half. 3-0 Cards. Well, we'll be here with NBC covering the Super Bowl in 6 weeks. Super Bowl history, January of '67 to present. No team has played the Super Bowl in its own stadium. The Dolphins 4 times got to the playoffs when they were the hosts. The Bucks did it in 2000, getting to the playoffs but not to the big game. And the Cardinals this year. The Dolphins won 11 games in '78. The Cardinals with 11. There's John McCain, the senator, on the right, and Michael Bidwill, the president of the Arizona Cardinals, looking on. His team up 3-0, trying to clinch the #1 seed in the NFC. Lynch is the back, and here's Lynch's first carry of the night, and he gets ripped at the line of scrimmage. Started the game in the locker room, upset stomach, didn't get into the game until the second quarter. This is his first carry.
He's going to upset his stomach a little bit more here. I think that's Frosty Rucker right there, and Frosty Rucker has made a huge difference. Darnell Dockett was the star on this team. He hurts his knee, and not out of nowhere, but Frosty Rucker now with 5 sacks, 3 in 5 days during one stretch, has made a huge difference on this team.
Second down and 11. And going deep and getting free out in front of everybody is Luke Wilson, the tight end. And Luke Wilson will take it all the way to the end zone. On a second down and 10, it's 80 yards to the tight end, Wilson.
Here you're going to see Tyrann Mathieu come up, and Rashad Johnson's going to try to get over the top, but by that time Luke Wilson in behind, and that's the problem you always have with this team. You get so engaged in trying to stop the run, play after play after play, and here he comes on the bootleg, and when Russell Wilson gets a chance for the wide open guy, he hits it, and this game that felt all Arizona flips on one play.
And Johnson got hurt on the play, falling down at the end of the play, losing his helmet.
I think he got kicked right in the nose.
He walks off with the towel. Wilson walks over to the other bench. It's an 80-yard reception by Wilson. And the Seahawks take the lead.
Something.
Hauschka coming in for the extra point.
Isn't he just so cool in that Super Bowl last year? Come in here in this environment. He told us last night, he said, I don't get flustered because I love these environments.
Wilson's seen a lot of action this year because Zach Miller got hurt. He's their #1 guy, so they've had to work through that. 80-yard reception. It's 7-3 Seattle.
This is Sunday night.
The firm of Wilson to Wilson. That 55-yard rush was the longest run of his career, and that 80-yard touchdown pass ties the longest pass of his career. And there is Wilson, the tight end who broke free, got out in front, and goes all the way to the end zone to make it a 7-3 game. And there is Johnson on the bench as they check him out. Kickoff fielded at the goal line by Ginn. Ginn dancing around, Ted trying to get around the corner, but they've got him pinned and bounce him out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. And back we go to the TD.
Never really know for sure, but Russell Wilson's so cool, and Tyrann Mathieu came flying up, and then Rashad Johnson, the coordinator back there, they actually call him Belichick. That's his nickname. But Belichick got beat over the top, and then diving trying to make the play, I think got kicked in the nose there. Luke Wilson, former baseball player, born and raised in Canada, Canadian junior national baseball team. Made him proud with that one. And then now here we go. A little change.
Logan Thomas is a rookie out of Virginia Tech, picked in the 4th round. Arian saying all week he has a package of plays for him. So Lindley out for the moment. We'll see how long Logan Thomas stays in. And the rookie is rolling to his right. Surveying, almost gets sacked in the end zone and then throws it to no man's land.
Yeah, that's the play. That's the old Super Bowl play, the old John Elway play. The stronger arm is going to roll this way and then try and throw it all the way back across. But somebody caught up with him and hit him on the back side of that. That looked like Cliff Averill.
Yep.
I don't think it was going anywhere anyway, but John Brown, the fastest guy they've got, and this is one of those plays that they're going to try and throw it 70 yards across the field, and they felt like Logan Thomas's arm was better suited for it, took the shot, now Lindley back in.
Not so much for that package, at least for the moment. One play, he's out. Lindley back in, he's pressured and has to dump it off in the flat because Bruce Irvin put the pressure on, and here's that play we were talking about back in '91 with John Elway.
And Bruce Arians on the other side of this one, and Elway had the strength to throw it about 60, 70 yards across the field like that. And Bruce Arians actually dialed that one up in the Super Bowl as well. And they were talking about the practice facility they had to use in Dallas because of the fact that it had such horrible weather. The indoor facility wasn't big enough to run that play and practice it at the right angle. They cut it off in practice, and then in the game, they messed it up with the wrong angle.
One thing to run it with Elway, quite another with Logan Thomas. 3rd and 10. Lindley fires over the middle, and that is incomplete. So it's a quick 3 and out. Larry Fitzgerald hit by Earl Thomas, and Arizona will be forced to punt out of the end zone.
A lot of contact here, but I think what the officials are going to say is that both guys were going for the football. That Earl Thomas has every right. That ball was thrown behind Fitzgerald. He didn't see it, and Earl Thomas was going for the ball. I like that no call. I thought that was dead on.
Thomas definitely going for the pass. Drew Butler now. Here comes the rush. Ooh, and the flag is thrown. They go into Butler. A fair catch is called for at the 39, but Richard Sherman came in and bounced into Butler, and that draws the flag.
Roughing or running into, because running into will not be the first down, right?
Right. Running into is a 4th and 5.
Generally, it has the two. Did he hit the kicking leg or the plant leg?
There is no foul for running into the kicker. Number 22 blocked the defender. Therefore, there is no foul.
So the flag went up, and then the officials confer. Tony Jefferson blocked Sherman into it. Crowd, of course, can't stand it as they look at the replay. And Seattle's going to get the ball at the Arizona 39-yard line. Sherman blocked into the kicker. 7-3 Seattle. That's where the Washington Nationals play baseball in the summer. And what's going to happen New Year's Day? It'll be the Chicago Blackhawks and the Washington Capitals in the Winter Classic right there outdoors in the nation's capital. NHL hockey on NBC January the 1st. From the 39 now. Lynch going nowhere. He is stuck 0-4, and Matthew are there to greet him at the line of scrimmage.
Go back to that non-penalty here. Sherman coming right off the edge, and then you're going to see Jefferson come over to block him. I think Sherman was going to block that kick, and clearly he was contacted. Jefferson definitely hit Richard Sherman on the play. Perfectly handled by the officials.
2nd and 10. It's early in the game. This is pretty big for Arizona's defense right now. As you know, they're not going to score a lot of points. Seattle has a short field, and timeout is taken here by Seattle. Todd Bowles came over when Arians got the job. He's done a tremendous job with that defense. You can see it right there. 3rd and points this year. There's no question he will be a hot assistant for teams looking for head coaches over the next couple of weeks.
He's in the top 3, I would guess, on almost everybody's list.
2nd and 10 now for Seattle after the timeout. Wilson is escaping again, and this is, of course, what he does so brilliantly. He almost gets sacked, and the next thing you know, he's got a nice game. Tyrone Matthew came in, couldn't get him down. He takes off again. He goes for a gain of 22.
Tyrann Mathieu with that thumb surgery coming around, but he had his good hand here, and you just have to be able to anticipate that that's what Russell Wilson is going to do. He stood there. He could see him out of the corner of his eye, and it has been 3 plays. Right out tonight, we've had the long run by Wilson, we had the long pass by Wilson, we have that one. It's the same thing he did to San Francisco in that game we watched on Thanksgiving. He is the difference in this game right now.
The game changer from the 17. And now he's going to have to take another timeout. The play clock was at 1, so Seattle takes its final timeout of the half. Well, there's the difference in the game right there. Took off on that 55-yard run at the end of the half. 80 of those, end of the quarter rather, 80 of those 117 yards on the one pass to Wilson. Then this rush here, he has 2 carries for 77 yards. Seahawks use their final timeout, means they have no more challenges in this half. From the 17 now, here goes Lynch. And Lynch running like a guy who does have an upset stomach. Stopped there by Okafor.
You know, Russell Wilson considers himself a point guard. His sister's a great basketball player at Stanford, I believe, and she's a point guard, and he thinks of himself like a Tony Parker, that his job is to distribute the ball, to not be the superstar, get all his guys involved. That's exactly what he does. But at various points in the game, it seems to always fall on Russell Wilson to make the big clutch run or pass. And boy, has he delivered in this one.
2nd and 8, off the fake, rolling, and throws to the back of the end zone. Helfet's there, but out of bounds. And it's 3rd down and 8.
The only thing that saved Arizona on that one was that Wilson was rolling to his left and just couldn't get turned in time, being chased, because he had a receiver in the back of the end zone on that one. Well, you just get the feeling Arizona has to hold him to a field goal here, don't you?
Big, very big. Seattle started with a short field. They started at the Cardinal 39. 3rd and 8. The pass caught on a slant. That's going to be a 1st and goal because Doug Baldwin is able to reel it in on a 3rd down and 8. Doug Baldwin, his 58th catch of the season, leads the team.
Russell Wilson knows exactly what this Arizona defense is all about. They're about a lot of blitzing, a lot of stunts. So what has he done all night tonight? And when he's in the pocket, he has thrown that thing in about 2 seconds every time. He has not given this pass rush a chance.
From the 6, 1st and goal. Lynch the running back. Marshawn to the outside. That's his best run of the night. Does he get in? He does. Touchdown. So Lynch had carried 3 times for a total of 2 yards. And this time he's able to get in. So they go 39 yards in 6 plays to go out in front. It'll be 14-3 after the extra point.
I tell you, J.R. Sweezy with that bad ankle, and Justin Britt, when you get him into a run blocking set, the rookie Justin Britt is pretty good, and so is that guy Marshawn Lynch. No doubt about it. He gets across the line, no elbow down, no knee down, upset stomach or not. Nobody wants to tackle that guy.
15 TDs, 11 on the ground, 4 through the air. Tops in the league right now.
Doesn't want to deal much with the media.
Really?
But the defense doesn't want to deal with him either.
Here's Hauschka for the point after. 3:41 remaining in the half. And Seattle on top by 11. 14-3. Pete Carroll in his 5th season at Seattle. Bruce Arians, longtime assistant coach. Every head coach that he was the offensive coordinator under had a defensive pedigree. as did Chuck Pagano when Chuck got sick in Indianapolis. He flipped it around and gave it to the offensive coordinator. Did a fabulous job. Went 9-3. Won Coach of the Year as the interim coach. Came here last year. Math did him in. They won 10 games, but not enough to get them into the playoffs. Now they're in the playoffs, but do they get the 1 seed or do they go through the wild card round? That's the question.
Well, he has plenty of big plays in his arsenal, so this one is a long way from over. But now the pressure on Lindley to play a little different style of game right here.
Hauschka with a touchback. Seattle's defense. Yards allowed, number 1. Points allowed, number 1 last year. So you have 1 and 2 right now. In history, the history of the league, the Cleveland Browns under Paul Brown, Bud Grant's Vikings in 69 and 70, Ditka and Ryan's Bears in 85 and 86, leading the NFL in consecutive years. Dan Quinn, another guy who will be looked at as a potential head coach.
No doubt.
Very soon. And there goes Helfett, the tight end. So they only have 2 tight ends. And there goes one of them. The other, of course, is Wilson, who had the 80-yard touchdown. Going to report on him shortly. First down for the Cardinals from the 20-yard line. Lindley, good protection, fires, caught. Gain of 12 and maybe a little bit more because fighting his way is Darren Fells, the tight end. Darren Fells more of a blocker than a pass catcher, but hauls this one in for 15.
Go figure. Second catch of his career, I believe. Had the first last week. And Darren Fells is a big reason why Arizona's running game has taken off. He's a former basketball player, and usually those guys are like Antonio Gates, right? All those guys. But he is actually a better blocker, about 285 pounds. If he proves himself as a receiving tight end, you're going to fall in love with him.
Look out. Basically use him as a 6th offensive lineman. Here goes Lindley. Lindley going deep, and the pass is incomplete. There's a flag down. Jeremy Lin covering Michael Floyd. 1 penalty against Arizona tonight and 7 against Seattle.
Illegal hands to the face, number 97, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's Jordan Hill, so that's 8 calls against the Hawks.
It's really keeping Arizona in this game is what's going on. So there we go. Right there is where it's happening. Hands to the face, and immediately Ted Larson turned around and said, yeah. But Jordan Hill, 3 sacks in the last 2 games, has sort of filled in. They had a guy named Clinton McDonald on this team that was that 3rd down pass rushing inside specialist kind of guy. And now it's Jordan Hill, and he's starting to play really well.
Lindley hangs in there, and then the pass is incomplete. Again, a flag here. Larry Fitzgerald, Maxwell covering on the play. And this is going to go in Seattle.
Part of the pass, holding number 41, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Here we go. Let's take a look. Working on Fitzgerald with that bad knee. I think you may have seen that tiny little grab of the back of the jersey there. But you want to see Pete Carroll roll his eyes. Get him talking about the number of penalties that's been called on his team this year compared to his opponents.
There it is, almost twice as many penalties called on his team than the opponents. That's the highest ratio since the 1953 Cleveland Browns.
And there were
5-yard penalty from the previous spot because the pass was incomplete. First down.
They just respotted the ball. It's the issue here. So the ball at the 45-yard line, 2:49. Arizona has 2 timeouts. It's Arizona's 9th first down, and 5 of them have come on penalties. Blitz. Oh, he gets smothered right through the middle, blasting through O'Brien Schofield.
Whoa. Little stunt inside. O'Brien Schofield just going to loop around the top of this as Michael Bennett draws 2. You put a superstar in front of you, they take off and go to Michael Bennett, also an edge blitzer, and Schofield had a free runner. That was some shot.
Schofield had been with the Cardinals and then was waved and picked up by Seattle. Welcome home. 2nd and 20. Play clock at 1. And that pass is low and incomplete. John Brown had to go to the ground, and that takes us to the 2-minute warning in this battle for first in the NFC West, and Seattle leading 14-3 on Sunday Night Football. Coming up to halftime, showdown games next week, AFC and NFC playoff pictures, what it all means for your team. Coming up at halftime. A moment nobody quite knows where anybody's headed next week. We'll find out though. 3rd and 20. Here's a flag. And the pass is caught up at the 38-yard line, but Walt Anderson.
Illegal hands to the face, number 70, offense. That penalty is declined. It's 4th down.
That's Bobby Massey. So in comes the punting unit.
You know, that's what Seattle does. You do not want to get behind this bunch, even with a first-string quarterback, because once they get a lead and they can unleash that pass rush of theirs, it's tough to stay with them.
And fair catch called for at the 22 by Brian Walters. Well, flag on the play. Nine penalties against Seattle, 1 accepted penalty against Arizona.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 52 of the receiving team. Tap the distance to the goal. Still 1st down, Seattle.
Brock Coyle.
Yeah, Brock Coyle, let me see, right there. A little shot, I guess, once the play was over. And now, that's impactful anyway, because maybe you're out around the 20-25, you may take a shot. With this kind of lead, the way your defense is playing, there's Arizona with those 2 timeouts. You can't get too conservative here.
So Seattle winning 14 straight when they lead at the half. It's the longest current streak. Robert Turbin, who started the game at running back, is in there. And Turbin finds a nice little crease and turns it into a 9-yard gain. Calais Campbell making the tackle. Clock ticks down to 1.5 minutes.
And they're going to jump right into their hurry up. Sometimes that first play is the key play, and if you get something going, then you just stay with it.
So Lynch helmet off, 4 carries, 8 yards, 1 touchdown. And there goes Wilson again, extending and throwing, and that's caught. And staying in bounds is Richardson, and he takes it out near midfield. Without a timeout, up they come to the line of scrimmage. 22-yard gain. Clock ready to go under 1 minute. From the 42. Seattle. Up by 11. The fake to Turbin. Here goes Wilson again. He's got some room, but has to slide to a stop at the 48. Arizona will get the second half kickoff.
It's just so hard to rush 4 against Russell Wilson, because if you do, there's a natural running lane somewhere on every single snap of the ball, and instinctively he just knows where it is.
Oscar, the field goal kicker, puts the helmet on, and Wilson fires, and that'll be caught. Richardson makes the catch, 42-yard line. Have to get it to the line of scrimmage in a hurry. Right now you'd be looking at about close to a 60-yard field goal. Will he clock it here? He will. It's the only way they can stop the clock. And the ball's at the 43. So Hauschka said his range tonight is 54.
He does have a 58-yarder this year, and that's the longest of his career. So I think you probably take one shot if you can get a little 5-yard quick out and get out of bounds and go for it. If not, just throw it away and give him a chance.
Yeah, if you stay in bounds, That'll do it. 8 seconds.
Arizona knows it. They're playing the edge.
2nd and 10. Wilson. And that's out of bounds, so at least he does stop the clock and give Hauschka a minimal opportunity. Or maybe they'll just launch one to the end zone. And Wilson now coming back out. Hauschka staying on the sideline, and they figure they have a better chance to send one deep than they do kicking a 60-yard field goal. Which always can get one of those pass interference calls.
We've seen a few this year.
And the half can't end on a defensive foul.
Luke Wilson, the big tight end down there. Well, nope.
No, they send it out to Brian Walters, and there's a penalty.
Oh, this is big.
This is very. If it's on the defense.
No, ineligible downfield.
Yeah, the half gets
like
extended, but that's moot. A moot point. Walt Anderson says, "What do you want?"
Ineligible downfield, number 77 of the offense. Penalty has declined. This is the end of the first half.
It is the end of the first half. Arizona gets the second half kickoff. The score is 14-3 Hawks. Coming up next to the halftime after these messages from your NBC station.
Tonight's first half highlights are brought to you by Nationwide, official sponsor of the NFL.
The joint will be jumping on Sunday Night Football.
Seahawks and the Cardinals, a division showdown.
Cam Chancellor is just a hammer.
And Luke Wilson will take it all the way to the end zone.
Nationwide is on your side.
And back in the desert. Seattle leading Arizona 14-3 at the end of the first half. Russell Wilson, that 55-yard run, longest of his career. 80-yard TD pass to Wilson. Lindley, meanwhile, 5 of 15 for only 54 yards in his first start since December 2 years ago. And again, the standings overall, the teams would have identical records, but the tiebreaker would belong to Seattle because they would have won both games. Cards win, they're the number 1 seed. Seahawks win, still a shot at the number 1 seed.
Very workmanlike out of Seattle, didn't you think, in the first half? Just efficient. Their defense has been what they've been the last 4 games, where they've been averaging just 6.8 points per game. Dead on that in that first half. Arizona has to find a way to pick it up here.
And here goes Ginn from 5 yards deep. Out to the 17. Now Michael's Chris Collinsworth with Michelle Tafoya, Sunday Night Football.
This is a team that does not give up big plays on the defensive end. Big reason these 2 safeties. Earl Thomas, as good as there is, lightning quick, fast, going sideline to sideline. Watch him focus on the ball. He doesn't even know Fitzgerald's there, trying to get an interception. Good no call. And then the hammer, Cam Chancellor coming down. It's not the first running back we've seen flip over backward when that big guy hits him.
So up at the 17-yard line now, Arizona. Stephon Taylor starts as the running back. He gets it. And he gets popped immediately. Michael Bennett tackles him, and we go to Michelle.
Al, I asked Bruce Arians how they'll help Ryan Lindley, and he said he's just got to keep playing. Arians was more concerned with containing Russell Wilson, eliminating the busted coverages and getting this thing back to a 1-score game, Al.
Thank you, Michelle. And Arians knows all too well that number 3 on the other side has been the difference. Second and 13 after that loss of 3. And Lindley has that one knocked down near the line of scrimmage. And it will be Cliff Averill, I think, who got his mid on it. He of the new extended contract. It'll be 3rd and 13.
Yeah, working on Valdir there. You knew he couldn't get there. Looked like a quick throw. Just get your hands up. Averill and KJ Wright both got big new contract. Seattle taking care of the core of this defense. Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor, Richard Sherman, K.J. Wright, Cliff Averill. I'm sure Bobby Wagner will be next along with Michael Bennett.
Still a young team. Very few guys over 30 on the Seahawks. 3rd and 13. And Lindley buys time and throws, and that's incomplete. And Jerron Brown was down there in the area, so it's a very rapid 3 and out.
How often do you see a linebacker like K.J. Wright running down the field with a wide receiver and making a play? He has been a huge difference maker. When he moved back to the outside, he is the guy that typically is on the tight end. Here he goes down the field on Jerron Brown, stride for stride.
Another short punt here, but it takes a decent Arizona hop, and at least it gets into Seattle territory to the 47-yard line. Hawks have it at midfield, up by 11.
The difference in the first half, great defense, but the play of Russell Wilson. It has been his plays with his legs and his arm. Arizona came in, they knew they couldn't let him do this. Take off through the middle of their defense, get them out of the hole just when it looked like the momentum was on their side. And now the bootleg roll out and hit Luke Wilson with a bomb down the field for the touchdown. Try and hit him with pressure to no avail. He has been too much thus far for the Arizona Cardinals.
And now he takes over at the 47-yard line. Another short field for him. Off the play fake to Lynch, buys time, open, right over the middle. Doug Baldwin getting free again, as he has on a number of occasions tonight. That's a gain of 20 yards for him, 3 catches.
Just a little rollout, and then they're going to hit him with the crosser in between here. And you know, this Doug Baldwin's one of those guys that they've been through some receivers. Golden Tate doing big things in Detroit. Percy Harvin, they had to let him go, and it has been Doug Baldwin, who's just the fallback guy, that continues to make these big plays for Seattle.
Look at his 4th catch, and now Wilson will stumble at the 32-yard line. Let's check in with Michelle again.
Al, Pete Carroll confirmed Marshawn Lynch had been sick, which is why he didn't start the game, but said he's good to go. Tight end Cooper Helfett was questionable with a rib injury, but he's back in there. And Jermaine Kearse, wide receiver, he is out with a hamstring injury. And Carroll said the first half would have been really good had it not been for all the penalties. He called it a penalty fest and said we just couldn't get out of our own way.
Thank you, Michelle. He's seen a few of those penalty fests this season. They've had 10 on Seattle and 1 on Arizona. They stack receivers left and right on 2nd down and 9. And Wilson slips it off to the right side, and that's Paul Richardson making the catch. He gets it to the 35. Powers makes the tackle. And every 3rd down stop now becomes big for Arizona.
And here's how they're trying to handle Russell Wilson. They put a safety in there thinking, okay, we know he's going to run around. Let's put an athlete on an athlete. And we saw at the time prior to that, Tony Jefferson making the play on the read option. But you're right, Al. Here comes the moments right here.
3rd down and 12. They're at the edge of field goal range. They need 3rd down stops before this one gets too far away from him. And Wilson will slip it off to the left side, and that is Baldwin, and he'll be taken out of bounds by Matthew. So now they're going to send in Hauschka for a long field goal attempt. He missed one earlier from 52 yards. And this one's going to be in the range of about 49 or 50.
Give a lot of credit to Tyrann Mathieu on that play. Luke Wilson out in front of that. If he had made that block, it would have been a much easier field goal at least.
50-yard attempt coming up here. He'd made 5 in a row from 50 or more before missing the 52. John Ryan to put it down. And that kick is no good. So he's missed 2 tonight. And another break for Arizona. We'll see if they can cash in. 11:36 to go in the 3rd. Seattle 14 and the Cardinals 3.
Punish everybody who overlooked you. You want to, every critic, you know, every little bit of criticism you got and continue to get, you want to silence them, because at the end of the day, you want it to sound like noise and ignorance. You want their criticisms to sound like they don't know what they're doing. They're not doing a great job, and hopefully get them fired.
All right.
You know, a fifth-round draft choice will always carry a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, won't he?
Hard to believe 28 defensive backs that year taken ahead of Richard Sherman.
And here he is with more interceptions over the last 4 seasons before he's been in the league than anybody. All right, Arizona now takes over at the 40. Lindley, deep drop, then flips it out to the right side, slipping a tackle there. Taylor, and he turns it into a gain of 7 yards. 2nd down and 3. Richard Sherman, 4 years in the league, of course a 5th-round pick. That's why he was saying what he was saying. 23 picks of about 6 per year. And most in the first 4 seasons of anyone since Kenny Easley. Everson Walls had a couple of dozen some 30 years ago.
But over the past 4 years, nobody within 8 of what Richard Sherman has done.
2nd down and 3. And that's all the more remarkable as Taylor makes it a 3rd down and 1. All the more remarkable, Chris, because it's not as if anybody's avoiding him. I mean, anybody's throwing at him. I mean, they're avoiding him a lot, as did Green Bay on the opener this year.
Here's what impresses me most. Watch him right here. Because, yeah, all right, he's a great cover corner. We get it. But there has almost never been a tape that I've put on that you don't see an absolute dead form tackle in the running game out of this guy. They call it whatever, hawk tackles, but they believe in wrapping up and twisting going to the ground, and they get people on the ground very effectively.
So Patrick Peterson, the other corner for Arizona, and then that pass is incomplete. Larry Fitzgerald was guarded by Byron Maxwell to break up the play, so it's a 3 and out.
That's an interesting play call right there with a young quarterback, 3rd down and 1, and you're going to drop back and throw it. That one surprised me a little.
Lindley is now 6 out of 19 for 61 yards. Punt off the foot of Drew Butler. Fair catch called for, made at the 6 by Brian Walters. A tick under 10 minutes to go in the 3rd, with Seattle up by 11 on Sunday Night Football. Russell Wilson, his numbers in terms of getting sacked 7 times in the Week 12 game, tonight none. And there's Lynch, and you can tell Lynch is still in a little bit of agony. He was bent over, he was in a crouch, started the game with an upset stomach. We saw him in the middle of the huddle. And upset stomach or not, they're going to give it to him around the right side. Stays in bounds and pays the price after a gain of 5.
I tell you, I've really been impressed with the play of this offensive line tonight. A couple of all-pros out, and Alvin Bailey maybe in particular, filling in for Russell Okun, who had the bruised lung, was spitting up blood in that last game, and just his quickness. There's 350 pounds worth of man right there, staying in front of Alex Okafor, their best pass rusher. But Patrick Lewis playing the center position. He played in the last one, didn't play in the last 3 weeks, but I think he's more than held his own in there against a very tough Dan Williams.
So the center there, Max Unger, missing another game. Here goes Lynch, and he can only get to the line of scrimmage before he is pushed back. So a very important, as we said before, all of them important right now, down by 11 for Arizona's ball club, which is not going to score a lot of points tonight. They got to keep it relatively close. And you have a 3rd down and 4 here.
Well, and this is where Russell Wilson has beat him in the past. Here we go. You willing to dial up a blitz? Todd Bowles, if you do, you better fill all the lanes, because it has been Russell Wilson and his legs that's been the difference.
3rd and 4 from the 11. Crowd rising as one, exhorting their defense. Wilson throws, and it's almost picked off. Ooh, Patrick Peterson almost had the interception intended for Paul Richardson, but the Cardinals figured to get the ball with decent field position, with Seahawks punting out of close to their own end zone.
It's just killer. I mean, these are the plays you have to make. I mean, you're playing the world champs. You know, earlier they missed Michael Floyd on that deep ball. Peterson's got this one in his hands, and it's going to be, 15 yards to get in the end zone. Got to make those plays. You're going to beat these guys.
Ryan to punt. Ted Ginn sets up at his own 45. Ginn calls for the fair catch and hauls it in at the 44-yard line. So again, good field position, but Arizona unable to take advantage of it tonight. 8:16 left in the third. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. Well, Seinfeld is going to be dropping by this week. Bobby Flay. Good food. Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon this week right here on NBC. All right, Arizona starting this drive, a 2-yard pickup here for Stephon Taylor. That Seattle defense, as usual, doing a really good job against the running game. And, ladies and gentlemen, what about Kurt Warner?
That was the hot rumor, wasn't it?
He lives in Arizona, and I don't know if he really thought about it or not, but it was kind of thrown out there to him at one point.
You know, we all have memories of when we were at our best. 5 years removed is probably not realistic, but they were thinking about it.
Lindley hit as he throws, and the pass is incomplete. Michael Bennett put the heat on that time. It'll be 3rd down and 8. You know, the other thing with Warner, I suppose it would have restarted that Hall of Fame clock. He's going to be eligible for it. And he's been gone for 5 years. So does it go back to 0?
Probably would.
Yeah.
But for Steve Keim, the general manager, he was thinking it may have restarted this offense's clock, which is what they need right now. They just have been unable to solve this puzzle.
Cardinals tonight are averaging 2.1 yards per play. And that is incomplete. Michael Floyd underneath. Lindley goes to the ground again, and it's a 4th and 8. And for Lindley right now, 6 out of 21 for 61 yards.
This was an interception by the wrong offensive player. I mean, clearly Fitzgerald's the one he's trying to get the ball to, and he probably picks up the 1st down, and it just so happened that Michael Floyd cut it off.
Now Butler's punt. Sky high. Bounces inside the 10 and bounces into the end zone. Seattle ball at the 20 with it. Super Bowl champs up 14-3. Sunday Night Football being brought to you by Exxon Mobil, by Bud Light, stay in the game and drink responsibly, by Walmart, where you'll find unbeatable prices on this year's top gifts, and by Mercedes-Benz. Experience truly great engineering today at your authorized dealer. It's the Arizona Herd Museum will exhibit beautiful game, American Indian and sport. Jim Thorpe. Okay. From the 20, Kristen Michael is in as the running back. Fake it to him. Wilson getting free. Baldwin for a huge game down the sideline before he is forced out of bounds by Tony Jefferson.
Yeah, we talked about Doug Baldwin, and here's one of the top cover guys just fell down. That was a win by Baldwin at the line of scrimmage, and you could see it coming. This defense now feeling like they had to take things into their own hands, and what happens? One of their top players falls down, and yet another big play. The big plays by Russell Wilson, by Doug Baldwin, the difference in this one.
Sherman comes over to pat him on the side. 2 guys who played together at Stanford. Wilson around the side now, and he gets taken down by Rashad Johnson near the line of scrimmage. Totally one-sided in the numbers department, even though the score is relatively close at 14-3. 152-21 on the ground. Look at that, 394-72, and forget about the penalties, doesn't matter.
Yeah, don't feel too guilty though, Arizona, because the last 4 games, this Seattle defense allowed 6.8 points per game and 188 yards, so they're ahead of that pace at this point.
2nd and 8, Lynch back in. And there's Marshawn. Going nowhere. Carson comes up to make the tackle. Glenn Carson. And we get 3rd down and 8.
Man, I would not want to come up on Will Tukuafu, former defensive lineman for the 49ers. Watch the fullback come through here on a lead block. Bang! Right into Larry Foote. He has added a real edge to this running game with his lead blocks, and he is just getting better doing it.
And he can play both ways. They've had him on defense a lot. Not tonight, but last couple of games. 3rd down and 8. Play clock going all the way down, and Wilson sees it and takes a timeout. 3rd and 8 when we come back to Glendale, Arizona. Patrick Peterson, 4th year out of LSU, overall number 5 pick. In 2011, Calais Campbell, two of the key guys. But Peterson fell down, got beaten for that 49-yarder on this series. 3rd and 8, and that pass is incomplete, intended for Baldwin. And Baldwin could feel the presence of Okafor right there. So it's 4th down and 8, and Hauschka's coming in.
That was a good job by Todd Bowles that time. He just, instead of blitzing on that one, he dropped Okafor underneath that slant that had been beating him tonight. Good call.
47-yard attempt. Hauschka has missed from 52 and from 50. Ryan puts it down, and this one is also no good. Pete's saying, "Go figure." 14-3. See, his field goal kicker, who's been terrific, second highest accuracy percentage of all time, only exceeded by Dan Bailey of Dallas, and he's zipped for 3 tonight.
Honestly, this game should be over. You know, he just makes 2 out of 3 of those. The way they're playing defense, you go, the game's over. But it's still a ball game at this point. We knew coming in, Arizona is going to have to hit on a couple of big plays. They've had 2 opportunities tonight. They missed them both. They have guys, and in particular, John Brown in the slot, I believe, right now, has that sort of big play capability. They need one.
John Brown, number 12. Lindley, his time before he gets hit, and the pass is incomplete, intended for Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald hanging right with him is Jeremy Lane. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, let's give some credit here to Jeremy Lane, who's had some injury problems here tonight. You see Fitzgerald just trying to get back over the top, and Lane is right in his hip pocket. They have been through some guys that play in that slot this year. Jeremy Lane, they got Marcus Burley in a trade. Maxwell's been in there. But the slot corner on this defense is such a key position because everybody's playing catch up, and that guy has to win, and so far tonight Jeremy Lane is.
2nd and 10, and that pass is caught. 9-yard gain. Floyd makes the catch. Arizona change up front right now. Ted Larson was run the sideline getting attended to, and Earl Watford comes in at left guard. It'll be 3rd down and 1.
Yeah, well, last time we had 3rd down and 1, they threw it. This is about the same spot. We'll see. They don't really have that big power back that they can rely on, but now they do have the fullback in the game, Robert Hughes.
So there were 2 backs. They bring Floyd in for extra leverage, and they give it to the first man through and trying to carry for a 1st down is Robert Hughes, and he is a little bit short.
Well, Cam Chancellor is making more plays in the backfield than anybody. This is a safety. This is what this guy does all the time. I mean, you just watch him play a little bit, and it's Cam Chancellor doing remarkable things. There's Bobby Wagner in there going right over the top of the whole thing. But it's Chancellor sliding backside underneath, grabbing those legs that got it done.
Well, they're going to bring the chains in, but they're short. So if you're Bruce Arians, it's 4th and 1. It's an 11-point game. You've got nothing going on offense. What do you do? What do you do?
Well, I'll say this. Bruce Arians in our meeting told us that sometimes the punter can be your best friend. They've had him backed up. But you're also playing for the one shot. You only play to win it all, Al. Really, I've lost 2 Super Bowl games. I know. You play to win Super Bowls. And Arizona's best shot, obviously, but maybe only shot to win a Super Bowl this year is to win this game right now.
Arians saying reset that play clock. It's down to 15. They're going to go for it, at least line up to go for it. Taylor is the running back. They need a half a yard. Can he get it? Keeps those legs moving and he gets it. Huge. Stephon Taylor hit behind the line of scrimmage, but he just kept on chugging. Moves the sticks.
Yeah. We've seen a little bit of this before, but sometimes it just turns into a scrum, right? I don't think he quite had it at the beginning. Couldn't see exactly who that was. Then big Darren Fells just got the scrum going and a little rugby first down.
Arizona 14 rushes tonight, 23 yards. A little over a yard and a half. Lindley hangs in the pocket. Now he's going to go deep. Floyd is there, and Floyd is able to make the catch at the 20-yard line. Richard Sherman covering on the play. Big play, and that electrifies the crowd.
That's what Michael Floyd is paid to do. He's not going to run by people. He's a big, strong guy. You throw it up there against even the best in the league, and he comes down and makes a play. There they go. They finally get one. They've been close on big plays. They just missed on one down the boundary earlier. This time they get Richard Sherman.
Floyd 2 catches to 42 tonight, plus drew a 36-yard pass interference call. Lindley under pressure, and down he goes. Fake the inside handoff, and Jordan Hill, number 97, comes in there for the sack.
Well, Michael Bennett is going to draw this. He's going to come here, and then Hill's going to come around that way. But what we've seen is anywhere Michael Bennett goes, he draws two, and then it's going to open things up for Jordan Hill. This is great team defense here. They don't care who gets the sacks around here. What they want to do is set you up and then get you with the next guy coming through.
Second down and 16. They go trips, bunch them to the right side. Lindley looks the other way. Throws, that's caught at the 15. That's Jody Carlson, John Carlson, the tight end. Carlson, the tight end, makes his first catch of the night. That's going to make it 3rd down and 4. So Lindley at 206 career pass attempts, still looking for his first touchdown pass. That's the longest streak in history.
You know, the Seahawks have
started to play his career.
Yeah, been a great red zone team. The problem is nobody gets in the red zone to challenge them. Well, the biggest play of the game right now for Ryan Lindley.
Bunch of receivers to the right, 3rd and 4, and he drops it. Drops the snap, but stays on his feet, then throws low and incomplete. Intended for Marion Bryce, so he dropped the snap, and that in effect ended the play. 4th and 4, and in comes the field goal group to try to make it a 1-possession game.
Killer. You can see his eyes down the field, took the snap for granted that he was going to get it, and just had to dump it out of there. That's unfortunate.
Now a 32-yard field goal attempt coming here for Catanzaro. And the rookie is able to put it through with 1 minute, a little less than that remaining in the 3rd quarter. It's now 14-6 Seahawks. Well, the regular season is going to end next Sunday night, and the final game of the regular season is on NBC. Cincinnati at Pittsburgh. Football night gets things started at 7 o'clock Eastern time, and that will wrap up the regular season. The winner clinches the AFC North title, which means they get to host at least the first playoff game. Pittsburgh is already in the playoffs. Cincinnati, with 2 games remaining, they have Denver tomorrow night at Paul Brown Stadium.
I don't know exactly what the numbers are, but I think the Bengals actually do better in Pittsburgh than they do in Cincinnati. I watched that first matchup, and the Bengals were going along, and tight game, and a couple of mistakes, and all of a sudden Pittsburgh was just pulling away.
Big game to end our regular season schedule. next Sunday night. As the kickoff here is going to be run out from 7 yards in by Richardson. And Paul Richardson will bring the ball back out to the 22-yard line. 54 seconds left in the third. There is Tom Pratt. He is one of the 23 assistant coaches on this team. He's a pass rush specialist. He coached under Hank Stram with the Chiefs in Super Bowl I. And here he is. Could it be 1-49? Well, if the Cardinals get there. 79 years old. Sharp. Talked to him before the game. Reflected back to Super Bowl I where they had 33,000 empty seats at the LA Coliseum. Ticket price, $12.
Won't be quite like that this time. No. Just a guess.
Cost you about $12 a second. First down. Here's Lynch. And Lynch with some heavy running to the 28-yard line. Let's go down to Michelle.
As you mentioned, Tom Pratt 79, Tom Moore 76, and Pratt told me, you know, we put a different light on things. Young coaches are eager. The world is ahead of them. Ours is behind us. We have no higher aspirations of being a head coach or moving on. The young guys do. We look at the game in its purest form.
You know, Michelle, Arizona, a place where a lot of guys come to retire, but not these guys. They're still working. 2nd and 3. And here's Lynch to the outside. And Lynch, who started the night with an upset stomach, is now giving Arizona one. 2 good runs here. That's a first down. That takes us to the end of the third quarter after a run of 13 yards with the score Seattle 14, Arizona 6. Sunday football resumes after these messages. Aerial coverage tonight being brought to you by Geico. University of Phoenix Stadium, Glendale, Arizona. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya as we start the final quarter. Most comeback wins in a season. The record is 10. Most recently the Pats in 2011. The Cardinals this year have 9. And looking for a 10th tonight. Robert Turbin is the running back here on first down. Wilson pressured, and he's going to be taken down from behind. That's Alex Okafor who gets the sack. That'll be 8 for him this season. And they finally get to Wilson. First time tonight.
There you go. Off over here, I think, is Okafor. And he kind of gets through in the mix there. And instead of trying to do something crazy, just tackle a leg. Get that guy down on the ground. And really, that was the play they had to have. You just knew if Arizona was going to get in this game, defensively, they're going to have a big play. Now they have to convert it.
2nd and 20. Cardinals talking to each other on defense. Put the heat on, and then the pass is caught. And that is Luke Wilson. And he almost escapes again to the 31-yard line. Cardinal defense looked a little disorganized just prior to that play. And Wilson for 38 yards.
Live by the blitz, die by the blitz. And they end up with Larry Foote in coverage. We talked about it at the beginning of the show. You do not want Foote in coverage. As soon as Russell Wilson saw that, he's like, give me the ball, give me the ball. He is jumping up and down. There goes Foote. He knows exactly what he has. And Luke Wilson has torn it up tonight.
Lynch back in. And Wilson chased again. But buys time. Surveys. And that's hauled in at the 22-yard line. Paul Richardson came back to make the catch. Gain of 8.
It's got to be so frustrating to play this guy. You think you have him, and they've got 2 guys right in front of him after the scramble. And look at him, eyes down the field, knows he's probably going to take a hit. Finally finds him and ends up a play. But let's give a lot of credit there to Paul Richardson, a young rookie. They worked so hard on those scramble drills, came ripping back to the quarterback, gave him a place to throw, and a big first down play.
2nd and 2. With the Christian Michael. Seen a good deal of action tonight, and he will pick up a couple of yards, gets it inside the 20-yard line, and a first down.
I tell you who's had a nice game tonight is Justin Britt. I have seen him really struggle at the right tackle position when it becomes a pass protection kind of game. But tonight, with run blocking, he has been dynamic. J.R. Sweezy, they weren't sure if he was going to be able to play. A new center in Patrick Lewis. And these guys have really picked up their pace of play. It's been a great performance by the guys up front.
Britt, second-round pick out of Missouri. And Wilson to the end zone, caught by Luke Wilson, touchdown. Once again, the firm of Wilson to Wilson, 20 yards and the score.
And once again, Russell Wilson saw Larry Foote in coverage right there. He knows exactly what it is. Finds his tight end down the seam, knows that Larry Foote is not going to be able to run with Luke Wilson. 2 times this drive they've had man coverage with Foote, and they go right after it and score a touchdown.
Hauschka now for the extra point. And with just under 12 minutes remaining in the fourth. Pete Carroll looking for that NFC West title and how much that would mean in the playoff scenario. 21-6. Sunday Night Football being brought to you by the new Samsung Galaxy Note 4. The next big thing is here. By Duracell, trusted battery power of the NFL. By Toyota, let's go places. And by Best Buy. Seahawks visiting local hospitals in Seattle to visit with the patients earlier this week and distribute holiday gifts. And you all have a great Christmas holiday coming up Thursday. Paul Allen is the owner of the Seattle Seahawks. Made his fortune, of course, at Microsoft with Bill Gates. Bought the team a number of years ago. Watched them get to the Super Bowl in 2005 and lose to Pittsburgh. Very costly penalties in that one. Of course, every Seahawk fan will never forget that day. But then, MetLife Stadium last year, and they routed Denver to take the Lombardi to the Pacific Northwest for the first time. Touchback. Arizona to the 20, down by 15. And there it is, your Legion of Boom. The 4 guys on the back end who are just so stellar amongst an entirely stellar Seattle defense. I mean, they're just good top to bottom.
Yeah, and Byron Maxwell never gets enough credit for my money. In the last year, 4 interceptions in the last 5 games, started all 3 of the postseason games. And you know teams are going to try him every time.
And that's fired incomplete. Boy, again into a lot of traffic. A little bit more on the LOB.
And they've lived up to it tonight. Great safety play. The corners as good as it gets. They get up in the face of these receivers. And I tell you, you can add a 5th guy tonight. Jeremy Lane's had a tremendous game. But one of the things they always have going for them is they get pressure. And so they don't have to cover as long as some teams do. Michael Bennett tonight has been borderline unstoppable. He hasn't made all the plays, but boy, has he set up his teammates to make plays.
Second and 10, and that is caught. Bobby Wagner couldn't take that away from Darren Fells, and that will make it a first down to the 31.
I mean, Darren Fells is starting to make this look easy, coming off the ball, and former basketball player. You'd think he'd be able to catch the ball. I don't know why, but they really weren't too impressed, and he spent the entire offseason getting better at blocking. He knew he had to find a niche. And now he's starting to develop as a receiver. It's fun to watch somebody who works that hard in the offseason to develop the part he probably doesn't really want to do and become a complete player.
Oh, baby. Dangerous. Cam Chancellor was there. Marion Grice. Second down and 10. So you have a race now for the number 1 seed. The Cardinals, if they win, and they'd have to come from behind right now to do that, down 15. Seahawks clinch the number 1 spot if they win tonight and win next week at home against St. Louis. And in addition to that, either Dallas loses at Washington or Detroit Green Bay does not end in a tie. Highly doubtful.
Right.
Well, it's the NFL. 2nd and 10. And it's again high and incomplete, intended for Michael Floyd. That'll make a 3rd down.
Did Bruce Irvin jump off sides, or is he just this fast? Watch this move. I mean, he was all the way around the best offensive lineman that Arizona has in Jared Valdir. But they will take some chances. They are not afraid to get a penalty or two. But so many times those turn into those big sack fumble plays, and why not?
Blitz, Lindley throws, and that's caught. Spinning but not getting the 1st down is Jerron Brown. Richard Sherman is there to make the tackle, and that's going to set up a 4th down, and they're going to bring in the punting group.
As if they don't need a few new looks out here. Look at this. I don't know what you call it. We called it the wide 9 when it was 1. Maybe we call that 99. They will flank those 2 guys out there. And the reason they do that is they want to force your tackle and your guard to come to them in space, and they don't think anybody can block those guys in space.
Douglas kick, fair caught, 26-yard line by Brian Walters. 10.5 remaining in Glendale, AZ. NBCSN's holiday coverage kicks off 30 Premier League matches in 7 days. All begins Friday morning, 7 Eastern. League leading Chelsea hosts West Ham. Every match, every team, every week. The Premier League on NBCSN. Seattle up 21-6. Starting from the 26. And a penalty. 10 penalties against Seattle tonight. 1 against the Cardinals.
False start, number 68, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
11-1, that's Britt.
Yeah, I tell you though, the more you watch Russell Wilson, statistically, you're never going to look at him and go, oh wow, that's one of the greatest quarterbacks that there is playing the game. But when you consider what this guy does to win football games and to play complementary football to his defense and how good they are, it's remarkable poise for a guy his age.
Here's Lynch. Oh, some high stepping and some shifty maneuvering. And Peterson tries to strip him. Stay in bounds, because if he stayed in bounds, he's going to go all the way. Marshawn Lynch, 79 yards, unless he stepped out and you saw Peterson come over, not to make the tackle, but just try to strip him.
It's not quite the earthquake run, but it's close. They've got 3 defensive linemen right in the center. This is all Marshawn Lynch. And Peterson, one of the fastest guys, goes to try and strip the ball out. Rashad Johnson, it's unbelievable. Honestly, it's unbelievable. I don't care if he ever talks to the media. Watching that guy play is remarkable.
Here's the key right here. Right foot in clearly. Left in. Right in. And off he goes to the longest run of his career.
One of the greatest plays I've ever seen right there. An individual effort. Sick. Literally, physically, whatever you want to call that, sick. That is absolutely spectacular, and he does it all the time.
What has Antacid done for you lately?
Skittles. I guess they work. We're going to have to bring some to the booth.
Whatever it is.
Wow. Think they're going to pay him?
They got a few guys to pay. That's 574 yards for Seattle in total offense tonight. Pete Carroll running down the sideline. 28-6. Well, if you thought your fantasy season was over, it's not. You can play for free. You can win a trip to Super Bowl 50. Join today at NFL.com/playoff challenge. Marshawn Lynch started the night in the locker room. Came out after the first couple of plays with an upset stomach. Did not play at all in the first quarter. then just ran 79 yards, longest run of his career.
Unbelievable.
A touchback. 10-14 left in the fourth, and the Seattle Seahawks looking like they've got a real good shot to be the #1 seed in the NFC. And back, University of Phoenix Stadium. It's 28-6. Seattle and Arizona now at the 20-yard line. And Ryan Lindley, 11 out of 31 for 131 tonight. And he's going to take one downfield. And that's good for a gain of 16 yards. Caught there by John Brown. First down. So what about Drew Stanton? There he is. So what do you do next week? If he's ready to go, they go to San Francisco. Seattle goes home and then meets St. Louis. If Seattle wins that St. Louis game and Green Bay, Detroit doesn't wind up in a tie, they're going to be #1. The catch is made at the 45-yard line, and to the 40 goes John Brown. That would make Arizona either 5 or 6, meaning they'd have to play 3 games to get to the Super Bowl. The first one clearly on the road, and maybe they'd get a home game in the championship game, but doubtful.
Yeah, the question is, do you think the Rams can beat Seattle in Seattle? They won earlier this year, so maybe you do bank on that a little bit. I'm going to guess, and I have no idea, but I would think they would give Drew Stanton another week and try to get him ready for the playoffs. If you're in the wild card, you're in the wild card, and does it really make a difference from there?
Yeah, it's an MCL. It happened 10 days ago. Give him 24 instead of 17, and that pass is intercepted by Richard Sherman. So sooner or later, a flag is down on the run back. So the pick figures to stand, and then Richard's going to go all the way down to about the 30-yard line, but a lot of this figures to be coming back.
Holding number 74, offense. Penalty is declined. Result of the play is interception. First down.
Well, there were 2 receivers in the area and 1 defensive back, and in between, kind of threw it to Richard Sherman there. But anytime you get behind, and one of the reasons I think that this defense hasn't had quite the number of sacks, quite the number of interceptions they had last year, is they've been playing in a little bit closer games. But when you get behind this team and you have to throw it into this secondary, it usually doesn't turn out so well. Then we get the show, and pretty soon Richard will be over there going, I can't hear you, and the whole thing. But he is the real deal. The interceptions just keep coming, and they don't come by accident.
A lot of them have come on our show this year.
Sure. Yeah, that's his 3rd, right?
Yeah.
3 or 4.
Robert Turbin. Well, we saw him opening night. Green Bay didn't even throw it his way. Turbin gets wrestled down. Then he got a couple on Thanksgiving and went off the field holding a big turkey high over his head. Since 1970, the year of the merger, most picks, Lester Hayes, Everson Walls on top. Kenny Easley is right there. He was a Seahawk. And Mr. Sherman.
You could tie that record before this game's over. He's an entertaining, thoughtful guy. Has a great story. I love the story. Maybe we can tell it about his mom and the neighborhood kids. And
2nd and 11. Wilson throwing, and that's caught. And that'll be a first down. That's Paul Richardson. All right. Tell us that bedtime story. Come on.
Richard Sherman, he grew up in, by his own admission in a tough neighborhood.
Compton, California.
But his mom was so loved by the neighborhood kids, even the ones that were in the gang. She always took care of all of them. So in return, those kids refused to let Richard Sherman and his brother hang out with the gang. And just basically said, no, we're not doing that to your mom. You go study. He did. He ends up in Stanford and now lands in Washington and Harvard and all those places because people want to hear that story. But you see the commercial with his mom and all that, with selling soup and all the different things. But it really is a pretty remarkable family that has produced a guy that is on the cutting edge of professional athletes today.
Well, we have our meetings with him. We've gotten to know him. He's fun. He's very smart, very clever.
He is.
Great sense of humor.
and unafraid.
Yeah.
You know, with all the politically correct talk we get out of athletes,
tell me,
he is on the other side of that coin.
Out of everybody. Well, 2nd and 11. Here's Turbin. He also, of course, knows where the cameras are. There's a little bit of Reggie Jackson in him. Off he goes. I think Russell Wilson actually sneaked up from behind, and there was Russell with a turkey leg. And that was their night in Santa Clara.
But it was interesting talking to Pete Carroll about this defense, and he said, you know, there were so many things this year. The Percy Harvin trade kind of set us back. They had to have a big meeting after that Kansas City loss. And he said it just took us a little while to get our quote-unquote stuff together, and now they have, and look out.
Here's Baldwin, and that's a first down. That'll take the ball to the 10-yard line with 5:53 remaining in the fourth quarter. And Pete Carroll, he can smile because it looks like the road to the Super Bowl on the NFC side will very likely go through the Pacific Northwest.
And somebody has to catch up to Russell Wilson. He is so cool when people send blitzers after him. And these are real athletes. These are safeties and corners. Linebackers have almost no chance. Defensive linemen have absolutely no chance. And tonight, he has just been the difference. A guy that makes about $600,000 a year. Some quarterbacks make that in a week.
He's in for a raise, I think. Kristen Michael. You know, I was thinking, Chris, the other day we were talking about 2 years ago at the end of the season, there were 3 young quarterbacks who were kind of like the new breed. You had Kaepernick, who was in his second year. You had RG3, a rookie, and this guy, a rookie. And we all thought, you know, wow, this is the future. This is the whole thing. Now, you know, Kaepernick did get the 49ers to the Super Bowl. But look where those guys are right now compared to this guy.
And the charisma, the leadership, I think, is the difference with him. Whatever room he walks into, he's the man.
He's going to
look at that.
Pack it away.
Look at that.
Look at this.
Look at that.
Touchdown. How do you stop that?
I don't know. He's not the fastest. He's not the biggest. He doesn't have the best arm. He just creates magic. We have seen magic tonight out of the Seattle Seahawks in the biggest game of the year. Marshawn Lynch, Russell Wilson, as they've done, going to the Super Bowl and winning it a season ago. That's fantastic. I mean, that is just incredible football. Wow.
They have run up 594 yards on one of the best defenses in the league. 3 TDs on their last 3 possessions. It's a franchise record for yardage in a game. Hauschka's missed 3 field goals, but he's made all 5 extra points. And it's 35-6.
We used to call this dead to rights. Right? You got no chance. You come out there, Alex Okafor right there, you completely stop, give him the old okey doke with your eyes and look back inside. It just doesn't matter. I hope people didn't go to bed early tonight because we have seen a show here in the second half. That run by Marshawn Lynch was as good as I've seen, and Russell Wilson just makes it look too easy. I don't think Pete Carroll can believe it. Look at it, like, they are the team to beat, Al. They are the team to beat.
Well, they were 3-3, but now they've won, counting tonight, 8 of the last 9. St. Louis at home next week. And then if they win that one, and Green Bay Detroit doesn't end in a tie, so let's just assume that. And it's a week off, and then the next game is in Seattle. And then if they win that one, the following game would be in Seattle.
You know, the one thing you would have said is that maybe their offense wasn't quite matching what their defense was doing. Their defense tonight comes in here. Yes, it's a third-string quarterback, but they really destroyed Arizona. They did. And now if the offense starts getting to that level where the defense is playing, and Russell was telling us last night, you know, this team now acts as one. Our defense's energy when we're on the field, they're cheering and screaming and jumping up and down, and we feed off of that. And this is really becoming a team right now.
Again, we'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. That quarterback class in 2012. Andrew Luck, obviously terrific. RG injuries, of course. Ryan Tannehill, okay down there in Miami. Brandon Whedon, now a backup in Dallas. Osweiler backs up Manning in Denver. Wilson gets picked in the 3rd round. We know about Foles, had a great year last year. Hurt down the stretch for Philadelphia. Kirk Cousins backing up Griffin in Washington. And then Lindley picked in the 6th round.
Who beats these guys, Al?
Right now, especially going to Seattle. I don't know. Dallas beat him up there, but Dallas is obviously playing extremely well right now. Now Lynch is going to do an interview, right? With Ricardo Lockett, right? Sure.
It's probably a little better than some of the interviews we've seen him on so far this year. He has a sense of humor. We've seen Richard Sherman do the little shtick at the podium. But Lynch, if you watch his interviews, you almost laugh out loud. They are funny.
Well, it's cost him $100 grand.
Wow.
That's picked off here by KJ Wright. He celebrates his, well, no, they're going to say incomplete now. I was going to say he was going to celebrate his new contract with an interception, but instead it's with a pass defensed.
Yeah.
Wow. They look good. KJ Wright, the coverage specialist for the linebackers out here.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
Right on the ground.
No. It's hard to find a weakness. You start looking up and down the way Kevin Williams is playing right now at the nose tackle, maybe that a little bit. I don't know where you point to say we can go get him there.
2nd and 10, and that's almost picked off. Darrell Simon covering on the play. And for Lindley, it's been a tough night. 15 out of 38. Quarterback comparison. Well, you look at passing numbers, and it's been a big night for Wilson, but then the rushing numbers too.
And you can't even take those numbers, as impressive as they are. Russell Wilson's been better than that. He's been better than that. This is his 2nd game against Arizona. A quarterback rating 122 or better. His numbers are better than that, or his play is better than that.
And a sack here at the 24-yard line by Bennett. So Russell with 340 passing yards and then 88 rushing.
I'm glad Michael Bennett got that sack because he has created opportunities for his teammates all night. They have been unable to block him in one-on-one situations. He deserved it. Sometimes you watch a game and you go, that guy deserves better than that. I thought Cliff Averill in the Super Bowl deserved better than whatever his numbers were after that game.
Butler's punt, fair catch goal for me, 23-yard line by Walters. Well, we talk about Lynch, and I think if you follow football, he doesn't want to talk to the media. Take a look at this.
How does that defense compare to others that you've seen this year?
Yeah.
How does your back feel, Marshawn?
Yeah.
Every win is big, but just can you talk about this win against Arizona today?
Yeah.
Any thoughts on the defense today and how they played out there today for you guys?
Yeah.
Tell you what. Well, he got fined $100 grand because he didn't talk to the press, so that's how he talked to the press.
They didn't say what he had to answer.
Right.
He just had to answer, so he does. And the only unfortunate part about it is he's such a great player. In some ways, you just wish you could introduce him to America in some way. I've interviewed him before, back before sort of the boycott. He's an interesting guy. He's obviously an incredible talent. And he is, certain players define the team, and those two guys kind of define what this team's about. You have the heavy-handed, powerful, intimidating running back, and then you have the brash, trash-talking, interception leader of the NFL, and they make you uncomfortable physically and emotionally when you play them.
Yeah. 20 years from now, he'll be winning an Emmy for top analyst in the NFL. Yeah. 2-minute warning.
That's great.
Seattle on its way to first place in the NFC West, 35-6 on Sunday Night Football. February 1st, we'll be right back here for the Super Bowl on NBC. Meanwhile, Volkswagen postgame report coming up. Michelle down on the field. Bob, Tony, and Mike breaking it down. And we'll look ahead to next week's matchup to end the regular season. Cincinnati at Pittsburgh.
And assuming this score holds, Seattle will be the #1 defense in yards and the #1 defense in points, moving ahead of Detroit in that category.
Meanwhile, you've got Tavares Jackson, who's going to wrap this game up, the backup quarterback, one-time Viking. And a couple of runs were probably in this one. And Michael loses the ball, and then it bounds out of bounds. So Seattle keeps possession. Penalty on the play. Walt Anderson. It's called 11 that have been called on Seattle tonight, accepted on only 1 against Arizona.
There is no flag for an illegal formation. Number 79 had reported as an eligible receiver. Fumble forward, went out of bounds, and be brought back to the spot of the fumble, 4th down.
All right. Cardinals, most yards allowed since 1958. Well, go figure that one out. A defense that's been so phenomenal. And you go back to the Chicago Cardinals.
Yeah, and one of the things that happened in this game, obviously the defense understood what their offense was going to be up against with a 3rd-string quarterback. So they took a lot of chances, and they paid the price for that tonight.
And that punt bounds out of bounds at about the 28. Well, Wilson had a huge run in the first half, and in the second half, Marshawn Lynch, who had done next to nothing, and then all of a sudden breaks off the longest run of his career. Peterson tried to strip it, couldn't stay in bounds. And he started the night sick, and now he's making the Cardinals sick. And here goes Russell Wilson around the corner and into the end zone.
Yeah, Bruce Arians was telling us that, knock on wood, Marshawn Lynch hasn't done a whole lot against us. Throw out that piece of wood.
Catch made John Carlson for a short gain. So for the Cardinals, it's on to the 49ers on the road next week. Seahawks fly home and may not have to leave home until they conceivably come here. Fitzgerald makes the catch and gets taken down to the 47. Simon with the tackle, and next snap will be under the minute mark.
Look out.
And Fitzgerald paying the price again. David King came in that time and put the lick on Lindley.
I so admire Larry Fitzgerald. Watch him. He knows this is garbage time. Easy for him to decide to not go for that ball. Back-to-back plays, just absolutely gets drilled. There's Papa. Been watching this guy make remarkable plays for a long, long time. Boy, that playoff run he had that culminated in that Super Bowl. They won that game. It would have been the greatest run by a receiver ever.
Agreed. He had 4 games in the year in which they finished 9-7. Were beating something like 50-0 in New England going down the stretch, and got hot. Beat Atlanta in a wild card game. Went to Carolina, beat them. Went here and beat Philadelphia in the championship game. And then, of course, he took the lead on a reception and a touchdown in the Super Bowl, only to have Ben Roethlisberger come back 93 yards and Santonio Holmes make the catch to win the game.
And then Kurt Warner got sacked, right?
Oh, yeah.
At the last play, trying to throw a Hail Mary. Larry said, I would have caught that one if he'd have gotten it off.
Right.
He probably would have, the way he was going that game.
John Brown making the catch.
And the other thing about Larry Fitzgerald, I say, is he had an MCL, and this team had lost 2 games, and he said, I just don't care. Put on a brace, went out there. He wasn't himself. He knew it. But he also knew his team needed him on the field. He's a gamer.
15 seconds now left. Pass intended there for Floyd. So Wilson, a tremendous night. Lynch has one phenomenal run. Luke Wilson becomes the most famous Luke Wilson in the country, at least for this week.
How about the job by Luke Wilson, though?
Yep, there he is.
Came in with 191 yards in 14 games. Tonight, 139 yards and 2 touchdowns.
And it's Harold Simon who is down on the ground for the moment, needing a little bit of attention.
And he's a contributor, no question, to this team. And Dan Quinn was telling me that he's a guy that in training camp, basically nobody wanted to really challenge Paul Richardson, the speedster wide receiver that they have. But he never left the line of scrimmage. He was the only one play after play would challenge him, slips on the play, and his leg just kind of, then he grabs his arm. Who knows? But a factor. He's the dime, which means the 6th defensive back if they go to 6 on the field. I have a gut feeling on what's happening out there right now, but
me too.
Sometimes they've got to, I'm not going to say it. No reason to guess.
There's good news right there. At least he's able to get up.
Sometimes your shoulder pops out, you got to pop it back in, and they may be deciding they're going to try that on the sideline. Good player, tough kid.
Well, I think Simon back to the bench. 1 or 2 more plays will end it. And the regular season will end next Sunday night with our game as the Bengals go into the Berg to take on the Steelers. And Lindley's going to avoid a sack at first, but not the second time. And David King will crown him there. And the Seattle Seahawks will go home on top in the division, and a win against St. Louis next week will mean they will be home for the holidays, and they'll be home all the way through the Super Bowl if they can win next week in 2 playoff games.
The most complete team in the NFL right now. Yeah. And I'm not saying somebody can't beat them, but it's going to take a heck of a show to knock them off if they win next week against the Rams.
35-6 is our final score. Coming up next, Volkswagen Post-Game Report after these messages.